is going on, boys and girls of YouTube? I have not sat here and just straight recorded a video like this in what feels like forever. So we're just gonna get into it. I'm not even gonna waste y'all's time. We're doing the most underrated gods in Smite right now. And just to open up, before we get to it, I already know we're gonna get hit with YouTube comments left and right. I played this and I thought it was great forever. No, you didn't. Played in silver and gold, and your win rate's 48%. So let's just stop. All right. These are the gods that are universally not played a lot at all levels. These are gods that are not banned at any level. These are gods that are not prioritized at any level. Sure, there are people that main these gods. That's how every god is mained by somebody, but you stink. I'm just throwing it out there, but you stink. This is not a roast session. You know, it might be targeted towards some of you guys, not a roast session. I just want to go over the 5 gods that are always available and are extremely underrated right now. And there's gonna be like, we're gonna be able to argue it. We're gonna be able to argue it a little bit. So I did like a top 5, essentially. I'm gonna work my way backwards. I tried to pick one from each role to make it kind of even. But you know, sometimes actually it did work out. It felt pretty good. We'll have some consolation things to talk about. But first on the list is AMC. Now you might think, why? You know, I thought AMC is bad because your tier list. All right, look. Overall, these gods are generally and genuinely fairly weak at something, right? They don't excel at something, but that doesn't matter because people aren't used to playing against these gods. So they underperform when they play against them. They're not regular. They don't know the matchups. They don't know the damage output. They don't know what to expect. They aren't actively thinking, hey, I'm going to get hit by this ability. AMC is definitely one of those gods. You have a very, very strong ult, which has definitely been tweaked and nerfed, and they've struggled to balance it, right? The last time it was buffed, this god was considered the best hunter, so they nerfed it right away. It is an extremely hard-hitting ult. 600 base damage. Process that. 600 base damage on a hunter and 90% scaling, right? So let's say you're going a physical ability build. You've hit hyper late game, 3k pot, fire giant, maybe pick up the red buff, right? You're talking about over 400 power. This is going to be hitting easily 1,000. Easily. That's before, you know, you proc anything. That's before your crusher proc, your heartseeker proc. That's before anything. So you're talking an ultimate that is very easy to hitting for 11, 12, 1,300 when you include those items. It cripples, big value. If the person dies, you can pick it back up, or really, you know, wherever it drops, you can pick it back up. And it goes on a 60-second reduced cooldown. So 60%, I said 60 second, 60% cooldown if you pick it back up. So it's basically a spammable ult because we're talking about it's already on a minute cooldown when you have cap CDR, which is super easy to hit now. Then we're taking, if we pick it up, another 60% off of the 60 seconds. So we're talking about like a 20-ish second cooldown ultimate. Pretty crazy if you really process how easy it is to get Transcendence, to get Jotuns, and to get Shaman blue buff from your purple buff. Full cooldown. On top of that, this god is able to clear fairly easily. In the patch at San Diego Tuesday, they're buffing the travel speed of the 2. So this is going to be easier to hit for damage. Already easy to hit the wave, easier to hit for damage. And then to top it all off, you're always moving at a faster speed. You're always sitting there with 50% more attack speed. You're always sitting there with HP 5 and regen, so you can trade out a little bit and then heal, and then trade out a little bit and heal. The downside to AMC is the fact that if you are ganked or if someone is jumping on you, it is difficult to play around. It is very, very hard to play around. But that's the case with a lot of gods that are being played right now. A lot of these mages, they're dealing with it. So guess what? If you want to play a god that can spam fight, win every 1v1 trade, be up in their face, and catch everyone off guard because they aren't ready for the damage, this is the god to go to right now for the ADCs. From just, you know, my opinion, all right? In my opinion. Now look, AMC doesn't have the highest win rate. It's not one of those gods like Artemis where the win rate is extremely high even though the god is not extremely good. AMC is sitting above a 50% win rate though. So it's not the worst of the worst. It's not the best. All right, just before you guys get into your details. Yes, I'm sure some of you already play MC, but I'm sure if I pull up your stats, you won't want me to put it in this video. And really, AMC can also be played in mid. That's, I forgot, I almost jumped past that. AMC mid, right now we're in a mage meta, where that might be ending when the patch hits on Tuesday. We'll see. AMC mid is good. It is absolutely good because mid is easier to deal with people running at you. It's a shorter lane. It's super easy to sit back and not get ganked. You can clear from just a few feet off of your tower. The second part of this is the big part. You can clear once you, I think it's like level 3 or 4. No, sorry, level 4. I think level 4, you can like kind of throw your 3 and full clear and leave. And if you have hives set up for rotation, you can rotate around the map so fast and play like a second jungler really easily. So that's the other side of this. It's a double-sided god that can play mid and ADC. So AMC is one of those gods that maybe you should start looking at. I actually plan on spamming him starting pretty much tonight or tomorrow, I guess, when I start playing. So that's number 5-ish on my list. If we're looking at hunters, and you're looking for, so, you know, what about this guy? What about that guy being super under? I think most of the hunters realistically can be played in some way, shape, or form. Cupid's getting a slight buff, so you're going to see him played more just in general. Danza's getting a buff, so you're going to see Danza played more in general. And then outside of that, if you're looking at Scotty or something, I think Scotty is just horrendous. It's, you know, a really bad AMC in a lot of ways. Like you try to poke, you try to full commit, but full commit's not as good. AMC does it up, man. AMC is so much better in my opinion. So that's that. Next guy on the list, no idea why I jumped out of that, is a mage. Now there are a lot of mages, and there are a lot of good mages, and there are some mages that don't get played that much. And I'm sure the first thing, it's gonna be Hera, it's gonna be Vulcan, this and that. I feel like those get played, and I feel like they're respected. I think there's one god more than the rest that does get played, but nobody's really sure where to play it, and nobody really respects it, and it's Nox. And I do think Nox could go through some quality of life changes because it's weird to play a god where you have to hit 2 abilities to get real value. But Nox is probably, if not, the best mage support in the game by a lot. You're talking about assuming you can hit the combo. This is one of those gods where you need to go practice, you need to play the god a bunch, and you have to be able to hit the 1-2 way more than 50% of the time. You need to be hitting it like 70, 80, 90% of the time. Now, if you can do that, we're talking about a mage that can burn beads whenever you want. You're talking about a mage that will control the lane, because when you get to lane, you will have lane clear. You have a mage that has a 2 to clear the wave, a 1 to clear the wave. You can poke, you can stop abilities. That's the other big thing. Ares is 3ing, silence it. Cerberus is using breath, silence it. I played with a Guan support last night. We were against the Nox silenced the 3 every time. Like, there's that cancel aspect to the god. Top of that, the beads burning, right? But then if you really dig deep into this god, and I think most people don't know this, I'm like fairly positive most people don't know this, Nox's ult is very, very good. And it's not because it does a lot of damage. We know that. It's because of this. If you did not know, which makes me sad, there's damage reduction applied when this ult hits somebody. This AoE explosion ult that can hit multiple people reduces the damage of whoever's hit by this by 30% for 5 seconds. So Nox's ult is an engage ult. The fight is starting, Nox is ulting. This will give you an automatic advantage in every single fight in lane, assuming you are using this. You will not get out traded by anybody. You might not be doing all the damage if you're not hitting your combo, which would be, you know, the sad part, but you will reduce that incoming damage. You will have CC. You better be at least hitting your 1. Even if you can't hit your 2 combo, you can lock down for autos. And then let's say we're not playing in support, right? Let's say we're playing in mid. I like Nox mid. I actually think if you are that consistent with the 2-1 combo, you provide more value out of the mid role. Now, it's definitely a little bit scarier to play the god because, you know, you do have mobility, but you have to get into a weird range to land the 2-1 combo. Yes, once you land it, you can kind of move back with that 1 channeling, but the 3 is always there. You just have to remember that the 3 is always there. Now, the big thing with this god and why I like Nox, tank killer. You will play around killing the front line. Right this second, there's a lot more mages than there are frontline. So in this exact meta, this exact moment, it, you know, maybe not as viable. But on Tuesday, when we start seeing warriors come back to the soul lane, you know, there's an argument whether they're coming back, whether they're good or not. They're going to get played again because they got buffed. That's just how it is. So once we have tanks back, you become a tank killer. You lock down tanks, you 2-1 tanks. Most tanks will not have beads. Most tanks will want to go beads. So you're going to be a tank killer. You 2-1 the tank, your hunter can auto them 2 or 3 times, they're dead. You can then use the ultimate to dive into the back line. You can use the ult to secure kills. You can use the ult to just get a quick burst off. And then we get to the 3. This is the slammer that we talked about. These gods are all better because people aren't used to playing against them. Nox's 3 hits so hard. Right now, with the current Mage build, with red buff, we're hitting 1,000 power. With Fire Giant and everything else, you're hitting 1,100 power, right? So let's just say we have 1,000 power. 700 extra damage on your 3, correct? 700? We're all getting that. So this is 930 damage. It'll get mitigated, whatever. It hits twice. When Nox exits the shadow, which is when you dash into somebody, you dash out, or you pop out. She deals damage again. It hits twice. Potentially 2,000 damage on this ability. Mastering and using this ability aggressively will change everything you know about this god and everything you expect about this god. Now, I mentioned this. People don't know it does that damage. They have no clue. This damage is honestly one of the hardest hitting regular abilities in the game. And people don't know it. Use that to your advantage. Nox on our list, 4th on the list. Now we're going to a Guardian. There are a lot of Guardians. You've got Ymir, who honestly stinks right now. Sylvanas stinks right now. Xingten's playable. Maui is honestly playable, even though he's got the lowest win rate in the game. Cthulhu, probably the worst Guardian in the game. There's a Reddit post about me because I said Cthulhu is the worst god in the game, and people were mad. He's terrible. There's nothing. Inbound said he was going to be, he got buffed last patch and a half ago. Inbound said he was going to be a top god. He's terrible. He doesn't get played. Garbage god. He's going to stay like that. It's too easy to kill, too big of a target. It doesn't do enough. Not enough hard CC, not enough presence currently, to be honest with you. And then we look at the rest of the Guardians, like, oh, maybe it's Ardio. Maybe we can say Ardio is the most underrated. It's Kumba, bro. It's Kumba. And it rolls, I play Kumba. No, you don't. Very few people play Kumba right now. It's super rare. And most people think, like, oh, I'm going to play Kumba, haha, like they're memeing. It's actually very good. It is a very, very good god. Now, a while back, they nerfed his damage. He used to be able to one-shot with the damage builds. I played him in the jungle. It was super fun. Can't do that anymore. But they added a cripple to his 2. Something nobody expects. I played this game every night, and sometimes when I play against Kumba, I forget. I'm like, why can't I jump out of this? I'm crippled, okay? They added a cripple to this. This is a big kicker and why there's value. The other part, which is the way he's always played, is the ultimate can be used in a team fight to pretty much take somebody out of the game. Now, between crippling, mezzing, and ulting, if you are playing Kumba and you find their strongest damage dealer, whether it's the hunter, the mage, the jungler, whoever's popping off, and you are just spamming these 3 abilities into them, they cannot play in that team fight. They will not get to play the game. You can quite literally play Kumba to ruin someone else's experience. And if that's not enough to win you the game, that's on your teammates. If you're shutting down their top player as a support, just in the late game, which supports are almost always just falling off and irrelevant in the late game, you're doing more than every other sport. You at that point, you've already gone above and beyond, okay? Kumba with a blink and just that tunnel vision on one person ruins the game for them, and that is why he's on this point. His landing phase is not terrible. It's not great. But he's an extremely safe Guardian who can get into bad positions and still make it out, and then ruin the game for somebody and win the game for your team. That's why he's on this list. It's that simple. It doesn't get any deeper than that. Yeah, you could say, oh, well, this Guardian can do it. No other Guardian is going to fully lock somebody down for 3 seconds out of a mez. It's also reducing their attack speed. It's slowing them. And then ult them out for another 2.5 seconds. That's 5 seconds just between your hard CC. Nobody wants to beads these abilities. Say they are, then you've literally won the fight at that exact moment. Because as soon as they bead, say a mez, or they beads to get out of the cripple, you wait out that 1 second beads, and they're CC for 5 seconds again. It's over. That's it. You're running around a full cooldown Kumba. You have short cooldowns. You're talking about a 6-second 2 if you have full cooldown. You're talking about a 8-9 second 3 if you have full cooldown. Your ultimate, it's 75 seconds at base. We're talking about a 50-second ultimate if you have 40% cooldown. That's crazy. In some of these fights that go on right now, that's 2 ults in a team fight. That's just taking somebody out. It's doing decent damage too. We're not going to skip over that. It's doing over 700 damage. Your 2 is hitting for 320 base. Your 1 is hitting for 350 base. You won't have pens, so there'll be mitigation. Let's pretend we're in a world where there's no mitigation. This is still almost 700 damage, and then this is 700 damage. That's 1400 damage. If you're hitting somebody with 0 defense, say it's a jungler with a Bumbas, they don't have an eye, they don't have any extra defense, that's hitting for 900, 1000, 1100 damage. You're half healthing somebody as a guardian while taking them out of the game. They make it so they can't play. Kumba for sure is my most underrated guardian right now that you probably should be playing. Warrior. Now this one, I think most of the warriors suck, but we have to talk about this. It's Nike. Why is it Nike? Well, Nike has a cool passive where she buffs her team, right? That's always dope, right? You know, the value, whatever. I think the biggest thing about her is nobody will build erosion, which is the anti-shield item. It reduces shielding by half. Nobody will build it, even in high games. So don't tell me people are building it. You're in gold, plat. It's not happening. Nobody's building the item, especially not for just a Nike. Maybe if it's Nike Geb, someone else with a shield, there's a weird pairing, then you might see it. But nobody's building it just for Nike. And this shield being as large as it is, 35% max life, I mean, there isn't much they can do to you. You also can get extra HP from the green buff, from the shaman green buff, so you can go blue and a shaman green buff and get even more HP, make the shield even bigger. You're a really annoying god. It's super easy to get cooldown early. Your clear is good. There are a lot of gods that have interrupts for your 1, but if you know your matchup or you're late picking the warrior, she's performing. And then the reason I had to throw her on here is she's been the highest winning warrior every single patch forever. Right now, she's only, I think she's like 17th on the wins amount. Just above Wukong's the closest warrior. She's normally 1 or 2. We are in a meta where the warriors aren't being played as much. Warriors aren't doing as good. So that's why we're about to say we go back into it, which is what I'm expecting. She's going to skyrocket back up to 1 or 2 on the list of most winning gods. That's just where she's at. There's more to her than, oh, she's just got a shield, she's annoying. I mean, it gets deep. 40% slow off of an AoE. You don't want to kill her. She's doing fairly good damage. You're talking about slight hybrid builds right now. So you're saying, you know, the ult's hitting for 600. You're 1. Protection Shred. If you've never read the ability, you should take the time to read the abilities if you're ever getting slammed by something. So, you know, the 1 hits, dope. If it hits again, the target loses protections for 5 seconds. 24 protections for 5 seconds just for hitting it twice. If you hit 3 times, they're disarmed. Most people don't want to waste an ability in a team fight to interrupt a Nike one. It becomes a waste of an ability because Nike's super tanky, full defense. You want to save it for somebody hitting you hard, so they don't want to interrupt that stuff. So you can disarm the hunter, take them out of the fight. It's 2 seconds. Whoever you hit that second hit on is having their protection shredded. So say you want to kill a tank, or your teammates want to kill a tank. Say you and the jungler are diving, a breastplate mage right now. You're taking away 24 extra prots just for existing. Then on top of that, you need to buy time. You have a auto attack repel. You can stop people from AAing you. You use this for damage. It hits fairly hard. But this god ruins Hunter's days, and while meta is Mage, Hunters are still being played, and once you have 30 minutes full build, Hunters destroy everybody. Hunters are better than Mages. And you're like, oh, what are you talking about? Mages hit for 2,000. Aegis exists in the game. So whatever Mage is going to hit you with their ultimate, you Aegis it. Guess what? That Mage loses most of their damage. You Aegis a Hunter? Oh, you Aegis 2 to 3 autos, and they're going to keep coming. They don't stop. Hitting for 800, 900, 1,000, 1,200 with my build. This stops that. Nike can peel for the teammates, can peel for herself, can peel for the jungler that's diving, or can just do damage. It's ridiculous. Then we've got the 3, which has a knockup. Nobody will ever beat Nike knockup. Nobody. So we're talking about a god that can disarm and prot shred. We're talking about a god that can knock up. We're talking about a god that can slow. AoE slow. Nike has a similar kit to Horus in terms of the extras, the protection shred, the knock up, right? The slow, but can hit multiple people, unlike Horus. Horus is good, but he struggles in the late game because he's single target and it only does so much. Nike has no problem with single target stuff. She's in there, she's AoEing, she's jumping on 2 or 3 people. She doesn't care. I believe that, and at lower levels, people can't deal with that. And sub diamond, most people's reaction to being leapt on or damage dealt to them is to run away. It's not to stand and fight. That's why once you jump from diamond to masters or grandmasters, the game changes so much. People will turn and fight. They'll build the right items, all that stuff. But Nike before then, crushing everybody. And then my top pick is an assassin. I wanted to pick one of everything. Just a quick breakdown. I think Baka is terrible. Hasn't been performing. AA items for junglers suck. Meaning, you know, your kin style builds, they suck right now. Hunters, you know, don't even care about it. Kali, same reason. Too low. She's still playable, but weaker because the AA build's not meta, right? Nemesis just got a buff, and I think the buff is big because it affects her early game a lot. So you're going to see Nem played a lot, so I'm not going to mention her. Tsukiyomi got a buff to his 2. He's now knocking immune on his 2 again. He's going to get played a lot just because of that, so we're not going to mention him, right? We're not going to mention him in underrated. If you look at the rest of the gods, they're all playable. Rat's playable, Loki's playable, Set's playable, everything's playable, right? We look at the top. I was between 2 gods for this. Awilix and Bastet. I think Awilix is extremely underrated. But I also think she's not as consistent and you can't always pick her. So we went to Bastet. Bastet is 100% my god for this. Bastet can be top picked in every game and never get counter picked. Yo, well, we can play Awilix into it. Nobody cares about Awilix into Bastet. The Bastet can just post up at 3-2, you on cooldown. And that's it. That's the end of it. Or say, you know, oh well, you know, but Awilix all Magi's. If I go Magi's on Bastet, your abilities are worthless, right? Bastet doesn't have that problem. Bastet has an insane scaling kit. One of the highest scaling kits in Smite's history. All right. Your 1 is scaling at 90%. They used to be 100. They nerfed it a little bit. 315 damage plus 90% scaling. We're talking about a 600 plus damage leap. Honestly, with your procs and everything, we're talking about a 700, 900 damage leap at max build. Your 2, it takes, they changed this a little bit. So Bastet swipes are causing them to bleed for damage every 0.6 seconds, but you tick on the first hit. So this is also over 100% scaling. It's 110% scaling on the 2. So 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90, right? It ticks instantly. It ticks at 0.66. It ticks at 0.2 and then ticks at 2. Okay. So 4 ticks, 90 damage, 360 base damage. Then 100% scaling, 110% scaling. So we're talking about another 400-ish damage, a little bit more, a little bit less. So another 800 damage ability when you talk about procs. Then we get to the 3. 95% scaling with a base of 240. And then the cat can hit again, do a little bit extra damage. Usually does. Because it takes 3 hits to kill a cat. So we're talking about another 400, 500, 600 damage. Then we get to the ultimate. The ultimate is the big thing. And it's not the ultimate's big thing because of setup. Everyone expects, you know, oh, here comes Bastet ultimate juke it. You use the ultimate as a pure damage dealer in the middle of comboing somebody to wait for your abilities to come back up. Your 2 is on an extremely low cooldown, 6 seconds with full cooldown. Your 3 is on an 8 second with full cooldown. Your 1 is on an 8 second with full cooldown. So what you would do is you would full combo, all 3 abilities go in, then use your ultimate to throw at somebody, auto them 2-3 times in your ultimate, and then your 2 is back up. Anybody is dead at that point, regardless of actives. They're dead. There's no reacting to it, okay? Your ultimate also hitting for roughly 105% scaling. It's, you know, because we're assuming quicksand damage only going to tick once. It's probably going to hit twice. So this ultimate is more like 500 base with 120% scaling. Another 1,000 plus damaging ability. Process this. This is a kit that full build is hitting between 3,000 and 4,000 damage. Mages don't have anywhere near that much HP. Now we're done talking about the kit. We're going to talk about pure matchups. You're picking Bastet to destroy some hunters, but mostly mages. Some junglers too, but mostly mages. Bastet just ruins mages' days. Bastet is one of the best gods outside of Susano and Hunbats to kill Janus. Why? Bastet can't follow Janus through walls, but Bastet has the best way to block Janus from getting in the portal. Janus puts up a portal while running away from you. You cat him. She's mini rooted, then you body block her. Body block him. Easy. Say he goes over a wall out of panic that's short. You can jump that wall. A lot of junglers can't not instantly jump that wall to keep up. Then we look at other top mages. We're talking about Raijin being played. Bastet's one of the few assassins that can get in Raijin's face and get out without eating a full Raijin combo. Also gaining from that root from the 3. Raijin dashes, you root him. He catch back up. His dash is not that far. Other gods that you've played well into, Scylla. Scylla is a huge assassin counter mage, but doesn't work for Bastet. Scylla usually hits the insta root, right? Ruins the assassin's day. No assassin wants to bead Scylla root. You're throwing the cat out. That cat is going to eat the root every single time. That cat is going to block the root from Scylla every single time. You hard counter someone like Scylla. Let's get deeper into this. Thoth. Maybe the most annoying mage in the game, early and mid game for assassins. Bastet can root Thoth. Run at him. Thoth can dash. You can leap. You could leap on Thoth. Thoth could dash. You could throw your 3. Or you could ultimate. You could blink on Thoth. Thoth could leap. Your leap will Thoth could dash. Your leap will keep up with Thoth between your 1 and your 3. You can keep up with every mage between your 1 and your 3. The damage output is undeniable. The numbers are there. The damage is there. There's nothing special about it. It's very a simple god to play. Has no real hard counter matchups. Clears great. Has good laning clear for level 1, 2, 3, 4. And has great ganks. Easily the most consistent jungler that has not been truly in a top position in a very long time. Highly recommend picking up Bastet. So, I know this video is a little long. I just wanted to walk you guys through it. I haven't done anything like this. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Hopefully you guys liked it. Hit the like button if you did. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, you suck. Just kidding. That's a little mean. But seriously, at least hit the like button. If you guys have some god you think I looked over, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear it.